To me, Armin is one of the most important and underrated characters in Attack on Titan. His development from season 1 through 4 is absolutely crazy, so let's talk about it. Armin is one of the main characters in the show, being part of the trio with him, Eren, and Mikasa. The name Armin is a German name, which means whole, universal, warrior, and soldier. His birthday is November 3rd, which in Japan is Culture Day. It celebrates things such as culture, academics, and fine arts, very fitting for Armin's characteristics. Now, starting in season 1, all of the characters are obviously very young. Armin stands out because he's very innocent and fragile. He's the definition of a dreamer when the show starts. His grandfather gave him the old book that he ended up showing to Eren, which had ideas of the outside world and things like that. And I think it was, those ideas that Armin showed to Eren that gave Eren the drive to leave the walls and gave him the ideas to do that. Now, Armin has a very delicate demeanor to him when AOT starts out. He bleeds anxiety when he talks and when he's faced with any kind of problem. Like when the Colossal Titan breaks the wall in the first episode, his hands shake from him just trying to move. This is a very fearful side of Armin, and it's really always there. It just evolves with him in a huge way throughout the show. And I feel like that's a main reason why he's a good character that people connect with, or that I at least can connect with. It's this fear and these bad traits, you can say, are always there, but he just continues to grow and be a very layered and dynamic character. And I think, like I said, that's a reason that I connected with him early on, is despite his just constant anxiety and fear towards everything going on around him, he just keeps going and continues to be super selfless. Now, shifting a little bit later on to a more middle version of Armin, at this point he has seen a lot of his friends die, and he's almost been killed a lot too. But as he continues to survive, he gets a lot more chances to shine with his ideas and battle strategies and just resourcefulness. And I feel like it ends up saving a lot of the characters a lot of the time. And I think once he gets a lot of these responsibilities, it allows his character to continue to grow. And I just really like that it's like a slow burn with how his character grows with responsibility of leading and having ideas. Now, going even further forward to, I would say, probably the most pivotal moment for Armin up to this point is at the end of season 3. First off, Armin figures out during one of the final fights during this arc to check inside the walls for Reiner and Bertolt. The way it leads up to it just shows how smart he is, and it's very cool. And in the highest stakes part of this fight, Armin ends up sacrificing himself and getting absolutely crispy fried by Bertolt, just to make sure he puts out as much steam as possible, just so Eren and everyone else can have a chance at getting Bertolt. Throughout this whole sequence, Armin does nothing but just be completely selfless and do everything he can to hold on and get more burned and burned and burned, just to give his friends a better chance, like I was saying. Now, when I watched this, it ripped right through me. It was very sad. I did not want to see Armin go out like that, and seeing him all fried up, man, it was sad, I like regular Armin more than barbecue Armin. But after Armin gets fried like some KFC chicken, and Eren successfully captures Bertolt, the huge choice for who should get the serum between Armin and Erwin. But after Levi obviously chooses Armin to get the serum, he has to eat Bertolt, become the Colossal Titan, and that's that. But it instantly puts so much pressure and responsibility onto Armin's shoulders. Like, he's now one of the main Titan wielders, and he knows from that moment on that he will inevitably have to do things that probably go against his good heart and morals. Now, because he was chosen, and he couldn't even... He had no say in what happened. Obviously, he probably has doubts that he is worthy of being chosen, which is why throughout the points after this, Armin has a lot of survivor's guilt for being chosen over Erwin to live. He just feels like he's not good enough to have been chosen, which, Erwin is the battle-hardened leader of a bunch of people, and then there's Armin, who just has a lot of self-doubt, and it makes him very real and humanized. I feel that he feels this way. First off, very guilty because of what happened to Erwin, but it's a very emotional feeling that Armin has to deal with after this point that makes him an even more layered character, in my opinion. Now, after this pivotal moment where Armin's chosen to survive, he gains a lot bigger roles in battle plans, tactics, and everything like that now that Erwin's gone and he's kind of like a higher rank. Now, Season 4, Armin presents us with a lovely new haircut. Also, as the stakes of what Eren is doing gets higher and higher, Armin is forced into a lot tougher situations. In the beginning of Season 4, sometime in the first 10 episodes, I'm pretty sure, Armin transforms into the Colossal Titan and basically turns into a freaking nuke on the naval fleet of Marley, killing lots of people. At this point, I think Armin's good heart is still there, but having this ability for situations like this, he is forced to kind of blur his own mental line for the good and bad stuff that he's doing. I think he becomes very jaded on his line of what's right and what's wrong. I think he's just very much pushing on and just trying to get stuff done for his friends, especially Eren. Even though it does have some negative sides to it, the fact Armin is very, very persistent and he will do anything for his friends. He's very loyal, and another reason why he's very relatable. Now, after this point, as Eren becomes way more violent and unpredictable, Armin is very unsure of how to handle and judge the situations with Eren and all the other outside factors happening, which I feel like does damper his resourcefulness and ideas a lot because of this. And like I said before, I think his conscience is very jaded, and at this point he's trying to do what's right, but also still have faith in Eren and that he's not going to continue to do bad things. Now, after Eren starts the rumbling, Armin is still very optimistic that they can save him, but through the final arc of all of Eren's actions, and as the rumbling continues to decimate the world, he has to accept the fact that he now has to go against the friend, and I'd say probably brother too, that he has been fighting to protect for the entire show. Even though Eren is everything to Armin, I feel like the final decision to have to fight him is the reason why Armin's morals have always made him like very top tier for me. No matter what he has to do, he still is going to do what needs to be done and just try to do the right thing, and for the right reasons also. And, though at times it does come with sacrifice and doing bad things, don't get me wrong, in the end, the very person that he has done all of those things for is the person that he has to accept now that he has to go up against for the sake of humanity, which I feel like is a crazy development on. It just shows a lot about Armin's character. Now, in the grand 2-part finale, the first big moment for Armin is he's made commander of the Survey Corps right before Hanji bites the dust. R.I.P. Hanji. I feel like this isn't super important to the story, but I think it's just a very cool thing that I wanted to add in. Like, he is El Comandor now. Now, in his final battle with Eren, Armin is captured and pretty much dead with him being in the paths. And he has this crazy emotional moment where he's screaming at himself, trying not to let himself die, pretty much. Now, just to say, the dubbed voice actor for Armin absolutely demolishes my emotions with the performance that they give during this whole entire sequence. It shows how determined Armin is to continue going, and his emotional side in this scene just makes me connect very deeply with him, because how he's screaming at his own dead self, essentially. And it's just very heartbreaking, and you feel every word that he says as you're watching it. And I'm sure a lot of people also connected like that with this scene, because it's very, very deep. And after this, there's the whole interaction with Zeke in the past, which is a very detailed conversation that could have its own video. To me, it just brings out a lot of Armin's more gentle qualities, and it just makes you realize how human he is and how caring throughout the whole conversation. And it just also gives so much layers to Armin's character just based off of these couple scenes alone. And he also pretty much figures out how to escape the paths during this moment. It just shows how his adaptability is crazy. Now, the final battle with Eren is pretty insane. It goes, there's two sides to it, with Armin and Eren fighting in their Titan form. And then the other side where it's Armin seeing the conversations that Eren left for him. And throughout the whole conversation that Armin gets to see, we find out why Eren is doing everything that he's doing. And it's just a very nice moment. At one point, Armin even cold cocks Eren in the face for not admitting his love for Mikasa. Now, his reactions throughout this entire sequence with Eren is so important for how Eren responds to him in the audience, essentially, just to help everyone understand. Armin's the catalyst for this explanation from Eren, and it's also a very beautiful moment after 4 seasons of the show, finally seeing Eren and Armin have their genuine one-on-one conversations with full, real emotion. Their brotherly friendship and bond that that they portrayed during this is amazing to finally see after this long. The realness and raw this emotion, it really, really hit deep for me. Just after the episode's over, just having got to see that Armin had such a huge plot point in the final episode was literal eyeball heroin for me. It just was really nice to see him get to shine like that. Now my final thoughts, with the show unfortunately coming to an end, also came the closing of Armin and all the rest of the characters' arcs. And seeing Armin evolve from the scared little boy, full of self-doubt in Season 1, to the heartfelt, now pretty battle-hardened strategist version of himself was very awesome to get to see. He always kept his human features and his human mindset and his faith in his friends. Every moment of his story was selfless, but very, very important to everyone and everything. Armin is the true definition of an underrated character, and maybe even the best character entirely.